What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, OTB Nation? Welcome into episode number 389 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, and of course viewable on YouTube Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. KB and Deej coming at you. It's PLL Quarterfinals week. We got a lot to dive into to preview the postseason. And obviously, the big news that came across in the NLL world as the Albany FireWolves are no more, and we don't know what they're going to be called other than the FireWolves. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod across the board. Be sure to follow Hoots at Hoots Sports Media. Follow DJ at SCS_next great. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the pod, subscribe to the pod, subscribe to the pod. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star review. Goes a long way for helping the show continue to grow. Helps more people find OTB and all of our shows here on the network at Underground. And, of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Leave a like on the video. Drop a comment in the comment section. Click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. We're 6 subscribers away from our next 100 subscriber milestone. Can we get to like 1,200 subscribers before the end of the playoffs? I think that's feasible. Let's make that happen. Be a friend, tell a friend. youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. And there's no better way to gear up for the PLL postseason than with our friends at Rita's in Sewell, New Jersey. Guys, the summer's still here. Don't let anyone dull your summer away. Don't make them speed it up. Don't make them push it to the side. No, it is still summer. It's still August, and there's no better way to cool down than with our friends at Rita's in Sewell. You can visit them at 288 Egg Harbor Road in Sewell, New Jersey. Let them know that OTB or Underground Sports Philadelphia sent you so they know that we're the ones that recommended you go check out Rita's in Sewell. Their delicious treats will keep you cool all summer long. And quite frankly, I love Rita's all year round. They are truly the best, from their Italian ice to the gelatis to the blendinis and more. You can go to ritazice.com, check out all the nutritional facts and all of their roster of flavors. But be sure to visit our friends at Rita's in Sewell, 288 Egg Harbor Road in Sewell, New Jersey, and let them know that OTB sent you. And we thank Rita's for being a proud partner of the Outside the Box podcast. Deej, what's poppin'? It's postseason week 1. It's crazy. It was nice to have a week off to kind of just like recoup, reset, and hopefully everybody got a chance to listen to our sit down with Rachel DeCecco last week. Can't thank her enough again for coming on, and the amount of feedback we got from so many people, listeners of the show, PLL employees, was really, really cool. And can't thank those people enough for reaching out and giving their feedback on truly, like, Rachel's probably our 1A most important interview in the field game. Like, obviously, having Mike on multiple times has been massive, but Rachel's like right up there. You know, she's just as much of a big dog as you can get. So to have her on last week was amazing. Can't recommend going and listening to that interview enough. But what's poppin', Deej?
Living the dream, bro. Not literally. Not literally at all. But I'm excited for the playoffs. The playoffs are always fun. We are normally going 3 times. This year only twice, but that doesn't change anything for us. More time together for the OTB squad, and there's always great games in the playoffs. High school football is about to ramp up here. I mean,
man,
fantasy drafts are happening. Like, it's fall. The weather's about to break, and I'm about to stop sweating bullets as soon as I walk out of my house. Like, it's one of the best times of the year. My birthday's right around the corner. Like, I mean, life is good, man. God, I sounded like Future right there.
It's not fall. It's not. You mean Lori Lightfoot? Those memes have been killing me. Someone said Future went from Wanda Sykes to Lori Lightfoot. So that's so disrespectful.
That's funny.
We got a fun one on deck, but I would be remiss to not mention here at the top of the show as we record this on Friday, August 22nd. I want to wish a big happy birthday to an OG friend of the pod, a Michigan man, Mr. KJ47, Kyle Jackson, celebrating his birthday today. That's the
Happy
man
birthday.
right there.
Happy birthday. Go Blue.
That's the big dog right there.
Big
man.
M's. Y'all know how it go. Big M's.
We love KJ. We love Dana. But happy birthday to KJ. He's been a long-time supporter of this show. So wanted to wish KJ a happy birthday here. Yeah, PLL playoffs are here. This is going to be a short, sweet, and to the point episode for the most part. We're going to preview the playoffs. We're going to give you our picks, and then we'll dive into all the NLL jargon and nonsense that has occurred over the past week or so. But DJ, I think one of the cool things as we approach the playoffs here that the PLL is doing for the very first time, the Denver Outlaws and New York Atlas are practicing in Philadelphia, and tomorrow's practice is open to the public.
Nice.
Which is pretty sweet. I believe it starts at 10 a.m.
That's awesome.
I think that's the first time a practice has ever been like advertised as open to the public for the PLL. Like if you know some things, like you know where guys are practicing, but like I don't ever remember like a practice being like that advertised, which I think is a great thing, especially for two teams that aren't playing this weekend. If you're in the tri-state area of like Philly, New York, New Jersey, like go watch practice. Like that's an exciting opportunity, a different opportunity than you would typically get at like a normal PLL weekend.
I don't know how communicated it is that training camp is somewhat open.
Mm-hmm.
Like training camp's pretty open. But I don't know how communicated that is. I think it's amazing. I think this should be something that happens a little more often. Like for example, it would be great if like during game weekends, if like some fans kind of knew when some of those practices were, not necessarily like, you know, the practice before a game, but I know a lot of them kind of do a shoot around in the morning before, you know, they practice later in the day, you know, kind of something like that. It would be cool to have those kind of be open to the public as well. It's kind of just steps forward, you know. I really like this idea, and I really like the idea that these two teams are practicing in an off week to, you know, give themselves some movement. They're back with each other, working on things, getting some scouting reports, etc., heading into, you know, the semifinals, and they're not just basically dormant for what would be a month for Outlaws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be exciting, and I think it's a very cool opportunity if you get a chance to take advantage of it, which I fully recommend doing. And I believe practice starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday, so if you're in the area, go check it out because it's going to be a pretty cool opportunity to go watch those two teams practice as they get set for the semifinals that will be in Philly on September 1st. So a lot of fun stuff upcoming there, but the playoffs are here, and I think it's crazy that they are already here. We have two great matchups this weekend in Minnesota.
Minnesota!
Where are the PLL playoffs going? Minnesota! What am I going to drink all throughout these two games? Soda!
Pop.
Chill. Two great games. 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus is the 2-seed Maryland Whipsnakes, 3-seed Philadelphia Water Dogs, who are already chirping at each other on social media. Whipsnakes tweeting that they never missed the playoffs, all of these accolades that they rightfully should tout going into the postseason to get their fans excited. And then the Water Dogs went the Penn State route and quote tweeted it with a graphic of Michael Sowers that said, made the playoffs every year except last year. That was in a very faded version of the tertiary green color that they've been using all season, which is very, very funny. And then we get an OG rivalry, the California Redwoods, the 2 seed in the West, the 3 seed Carolina Chaos at 8:30 p.m. Two very fun matchups to kick off the play. Like, these two teams are rivals, and this is predated to home markets. This is what you want to see in the postseason, especially now that we have, Eastern Western Conference. You get these type of matchups that have a long-standing history and long-standing rivalry to them, and now it's amped up even more because you add in the home market, you add in those fans, and you add in the stakes of the playoffs. Like, look at Maryland and Philly. Like, yes, it's a little bit of a distance for Maryland, but like, you get that much closer to having some home fans being able to make the trip out. And if Philly advances, you get a home semifinal game against another rival in the New York Atlas, and you get to create a home field advantage as a quote unquote lower seed, which I think you can't overstate enough. Like, we talked about this a little bit when the seeding all happened. Like, that has to be prime motivation for the Water Dogs to go all out in this game and punch their ticket to the semifinal, knowing that, yes, it doesn't translate to like what's on the field, but we all know what having a home field advantage can do. Indeed, you've been around me enough to know what a home field advantage in Philadelphia can do, and we've seen it when the Water Dogs have played at Subaru Park. It's a Water Dogs home game every time they're there, and if they get there, like, that's going to be an incredible sight to behold. The Whip Snakes, if they get there, it would be back-to-back years of Whips and Atlas in the semifinal. We know what happened last year in the semifinal. So that sets up, part two of one of, if not the greatest game ever played in the PLL. And then on the flip side, you have California and Carolina, two teams that have long-standing history, two original six teams, two teams that don't like each other, two first-year head coaches coaching in their first playoff games ever. And that's all for a ticket to go and play the Denver Outlaws that are, I would assume, most people view as like this postseason's like darling team. They are the trendy pick. They have the 4 to Wharton winners. They have the season-altering goalie in Logan McNaney. You have so many pieces on that team that I think they are the trendy pick to win it all. And you put either of those teams in that situation, they're going in with a chip on their shoulder, which is added motivation to go and give it their all against the number 1 seed that Carolina has beaten twice this year. The Redwoods, did they get swept by the Outlaws, or they split? So they split. Either way, it's set up for a prime matchup with those two teams. And honestly, you look at the two teams that are not playing this weekend, I think the most pressure is on those two teams, not only from the standpoint that they've been off with bye weeks and everything, but I genuinely think those two coaches are two of the 3 coaches in the PLL, and one of them is already at home, and his name is Brian Holman, and we love Brian, but I think it's true. Mike Pressler and Tim Sudan have the most pressure to get the job done. They are two teams that have had loaded rosters. They've had teams underperform, in years past of their coaching careers. I think this year, where they set the expectation for themselves, they clinched the top seeds in their respective conferences, they have so much additional pressure on them to get the job done and come out on top that it's going to be fascinating to see whoever wins these quarterfinal matchups. I think they're going in and playing with a lot less pressure on their shoulders than both New York and Denver will be.
So starting first with the teams that are in the quarterfinals, I think the Whip Snakes are looking at this like, okay, we're playing a team that's been struggling over the last couple of weeks. They're going to come out with some energy, but we've also played very good over the last couple of weeks. The next opponent is a team that's coming off a bye that we beat this season and we beat last year in this same position, in a place that we're very comfortable playing in. We've won championships in this place. We've won other games in this stadium. Everything's lining up for the Whip Snakes to head back to the championship game. But at the same time, everything lines up for the Water Dogs to head to the championship game. They, are looking at it like, hey, this is the perfect chance for us to kind of reset ourselves and start playing our best ball. We make it past this weekend. We have a chance to play 2 games in our backyard. One's a semifinal, one's a final. And if we're playing a game against anybody in New Jersey where we're the closest team, we have a very good chance of winning another championship because of a home field advantage. On the flip side, Chaos and Redwoods, they split this year. So they each won a game against each other. They know how to play against each other. They hate each other. There's advantages on both sides. But they both have the advantage of playing a team that has not been there in terms of PLL. Denver has not been in a semifinal. Denver, or maybe they've been in one, but they haven't been.
I'll check that for you.
They haven't been in a championship game. They don't have these veterans that are used to being in these spots. Meanwhile, Chaos has been in the championship game multiple times. Redwoods have been in the championship game or the semifinals multiple times. But neither one of these teams have anything to lose. The Redwoods nor Chaos. They've already had good seasons.
Yeah, I was going to say, for either of them, like, no matter what happens, this season's a success for both of them.
Exactly. And it's taken so much pressure off of them. Whereas Denver, they've had arguably their best or second best season, according to records going back to Chrome. They're expected to make a push and be in the championship game. Same thing for Atlas. Atlas is, like I said and I predicted, they would get over the hump this year and get into the championship game. I don't think I'm the only person that's expecting that from them. I think they're expecting that from themselves. It's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. It's a lot of pressure to have put on you. But then again, when you look at their roster, look at how they've played over the last couple of years, it's expected for them to make that kind of jump this year. The 2 teams that aren't playing this week by far have the most pressure. The 4 teams that aren't playing almost don't have anything to lose. I know for sure, to me, the West side, the teams in the Western Conference, they don't have anything to lose this weekend. You win, you keep playing, and you have a very good chance of going to the championship game because of the momentum that you have rolling into your next game. You lose, oh my God, you went 5-6 on the year after not doing so well last year. In a first year with a new head coach and lots of new faces and coordinators and such. That's a win. Philadelphia, at the end of the day, you weren't in the playoffs last year and you were the last team in the league. That's not the case this year. You would love to continue playing, but realistically, you've already done better than last year. Whipsnakes, hey, just keep touting the fact you haven't missed the playoffs. Like there's no losses across the board unless you're Atlas or Denver, because I feel like there's no real expectations.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the teams that are playing this weekend, like we said, Chaos and Redwoods, like, this is house money for both of them. Like, no matter what happens for either of these teams this weekend, it's a success, and then it continues to be. You build on the success that you've already had. Both teams have qualified for Champ Series. You finished top 3 in your conference, so you made the playoffs. First-year head coach, tons of new players on those rosters, and that to me is a wildly impressive success for both of those teams, knowing where they were coming into the season and the talk around both of those teams coming into the year. For Philly and Maryland, I think the expectation for the Whips is just the pedigree that they have, where they haven't missed the playoffs. They've had incredible postseason success, and I think that's where their pressure comes in. Not that it's like wild over the top pressure, but it is one of those things that, like, they are kind of like, to me, to compare them to other sports, like the Whipsnakes are almost like the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick Patriots. They are like the St. Louis Cardinals. Like, they have like the Patriot way or the Cardinal way or the Yankee way. Like, they're one of those type of teams. They're clean, they're polished, and they know how to win. Like, at the end of the day, Stags and that coaching staff and that core of players on that leadership council know how to win. And I think it's frustrating to a lot of fans knowing that you can't ever count out the Whipsnakes, but that's just the culture that they've built. And it's super impressive to watch, knowing that since 2019, the Maryland Whipsnakes have never missed the playoffs. They've played in 4 out of 6 championship games. They've won 2 of those titles. And they are the standard of excellence. And I think, for the most part, over the past couple of years too, the Archers have displayed that. But, the Whips have never missed the playoffs. They've been to 2/3 of PLL championships in the history of the league. And that's one of those things that when you go into a game against them, if you're the Water Dogs this year, you can't overlook that the Whipsnakes had an up and down year. They fought fire towards the end of this year. They have looked like a completely different team since they've shuffled some pieces around and put guys in position to succeed that also aligns with those guys' skill sets. Moving Aiden Carroll to attack was a huge boost to this team. It's made guys like Rob Pennell better. It's made guys like Brad Smith have the ability to get more open and launch the 2-pointers that he has. It's made Matt Brandow an unbelievable midfielder in this league. And if you're the Water Dogs and you look at this matchup, to me, one thing pops off the paper, Deej. You have the experienced Whipsnakes defense with the inexperienced rookie goalie when it comes to postseason play in the PLL, versus an experienced Water Dogs offense in Kieran McCardle, Michael Sowers, Connor Kelly, Jack Hanna, like the guys that won that championship in 2022. But then you also have a young defense, but then you have the experienced goalies when it comes to playing in the postseason. So it's like, which rock and hard place do you kind of invest in more when it comes to those two teams? And what do you think is the end all, not the end all be all, but what do you think is the bigger value piece when it comes to looking at this matchup for success in the playoffs? Do you want to trust that veteran defense, which I don't think you shouldn't? Those guys have been doing it for a long time, especially Matt Dunn and Tim Muller. And then having that trust in those guys in front of first-time PLL appearance from Emmett Carroll versus, you have Matt DeLuca, Dylan Ward, who have played in postseason games, both of them, played in championships, both of them, behind an inexperienced, for the most part, Water Dogs defense, where the only member of that defense that has played in a postseason is Ben Randall.
I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Because I'm going to sound horrible for saying this. I think a lot of that comes down to Dylan Ward. I don't think DeLuca gives up as many twos as Dylan Ward does. Not that the defense defends them any better with DeLuca in net. I just think he sees the ball from that range a little bit better. And he reacts to it a little bit better than Dylan Ward does. It might be partly due to Dylan Ward's arc and him being so far out. There's a lot of factors that could run into that. I think it helps that for the most part you have it with the closed defense, you have two pieces that have been there for a very long time. And then you have Colin Squires, who's been there for 4 years now already.
Something like
3. And then Zappatello's already at 2, but they really weren't. The defense has never really added a lot at one time. Whereas I feel like over the last 2.5 years, 3 years.
5th year.
See, yeah.
We are
like,
old.
So when you think about it, really the only new piece has been Zappatello and a few short stick D-mids.
Yeah, I would say it's... And then if, however you want to justify, like, their face-off, because they play Patra at the face-off, like, on the wing more than a short stick, but
he's like
Potch was like a unicorn.
I say he's like Zach Currier, so I don't really
Yeah.
count him on either side. I just call him a midfielder. And then
Yeah, their short sticks are really like the newest pieces because they have 2 rookies.
Yeah, and then you look at the other side. Really, it's just Ben Randall that's been there for an extended amount of time. Everybody's relatively new on the defensive end for the Water Dogs. I think that's the bigger issue here than anything else is you're finding a defensive unit that has to figure out how to work with each other. A couple of your short stick D mids have been there for a while as well, but you're basically working with a unit that has to figure out how to work with each other. And I would argue you need that defensive chemistry more than you need offensive chemistry. I think we've seen it kind of work out on a handful of times where the ball can get a little sticky and guys can just make stuff work on the offensive end. That does not work on defense. You need 7 guys working as one, or you're going to give up goals left and right. And I think that's kind of what you see with the Water Dogs. And I don't think it helps that they're changing goalies either, because the different goalies communicate and react and do all these things differently. So that also messes with the chemistry of the defense.
I do want to see, because obviously these 2 teams have played each other twice. I want to see who, if it did change at all. Okay, so Matt DeLuca played both games against the Whip Snakes this year, where the Water Dogs went 1-1 because they won the opener in Charlotte, and then Fairfield, the offense kind of just crumbled away. How much credence would you put into the... Because we were talking about this pre-show, and it feels like it's fabricated, like, drama with this CJ Curse, Jake Taylor duality of man dichotomy on this offense. I don't believe there's really any drama with it from what I've gathered about both of those guys in that locker room, from what we've seen the veterans on that team talk about both guys glowingly. It's just a matter of, quite frankly, the coaching staff making it work. You know, I don't think there's any real drama of this guy should play over that guy, this guy should play over this guy. It's a matter of like pushing the right buttons and making the puzzle pieces fit together.
I mean, I've had the same answer to this question since it became a question. I think you put CJ on one wing, Kieran on the other wing, Bowers plays at X, you run Jake Taylor out of the box on almost every possession, you stick him on the inside, and now you have 5 Dodgers with an inside threat. Set up in a traditional 2-3-1, set up in an open set, set up in whatever you want to set up in after that. But once you have that threat of Jake Taylor inside, it makes the defense a little slower to slide. You get to finish your shots. If you're finishing your shots and they slide early, then you get to have Jake Taylor finishing on the inside, and it's almost an unbeatable offense. Just haven't seen them do it yet.
Yeah, and I think it's like we've seen it over the past couple of weeks too with the Water Dogs offense when they've played. Like, they've fed CJ, and like rightfully so, the kid is a freak athlete. I do think they just need to be more conscious of like just like getting everyone involved so that the offense doesn't go one-dimensional. Because we've seen that happen where they try to force... We saw a ton, obviously, in 2024, and then we've seen it in a couple games during this losing streak where they try to just force-feed whoever the guy of the day is, and then when the defenses catch on to that, they shut that guy down, and nobody else is, like, prepared to be the guy for whatever reason. I think the Water Dogs are at their best when they share the ball and when they move the ball around, and Bill Tierney's talked about it, you know, throughout this losing streak where, like, yeah, they need to get everyone involved. They need to get guys, you know, passing the ball better. The passing hasn't been great during this losing streak for the Water Dogs. They've been very sloppy. We've seen a lot of turnovers from them. If they clean that up when you're going up against a Whip Snakes team that are very attention to detail oriented, that can really help you succeed in a game like this, especially when the stakes are elevated in the playoffs.
I don't think that's so much the issue as it is guys just don't beat their matchups in those scenarios. Like, I'm looking back at that game in Fairfield where, like, Dogs started up, like, 4-0 or 5-0 or whatever, but it was, like, all Michael Sowers. It's like, it wasn't that the other guys weren't there or trying to contribute or whatever the case was. They just couldn't beat their matchups, or they couldn't finish their shots when they did beat their matchups. So, like, I don't think they really have a problem. And, like, I think they do a great job of spreading the ball around even when they do have a hot guy. I just think they have to do a better job of finishing or actually beating their matchups. I think everybody has an opportunity. They just don't make them all stick. And that's a problem I've seen with my high school team that I've coached, with travel teams that I've coached and watched, with other professional and college teams. For the most part, it's normally just, an odd end issue, but it's become a consistent issue for the Water Dogs.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating game because I think we'll know a lot about the flow of the game early, and we haven't even talked about, like, obviously the big tilt for this game is, like, the Whipsnakes have Nardella. Stath has to step up if the Water Dogs want to be in this one, and we've seen him do it. We saw him do it in Charlotte, against Nardella. We've seen him step up against the quote-unquote unicorn face-off guys. Stath just has to be at his best or close to his best and give the Water Dogs offense possession, because they are one of those teams that the more possessions you get them, the more into a game flow they're going to get, and you're going to see results from it. That way you're not relying on 2-pointers in the fourth quarter from Jimmy Freehill to tie a game for you and play catch-up the entire time.
I think it's more about wing play and defense. Stath is good, but I don't really think you're really walking into this expecting Stath to hang tight with Nardella. I think you kind of want him to slow him down, keep him from winning it forward as much as possible, and just win a handful. I think just him going 45-50% in this game is enough. It's enough. Especially if your defense is making stops in that 32-second and giving your offense 52-second shot clocks to go the other way. That's kind of, to me, I think that's the way that you combat the Nardella, TD, Trevor, is you really hone in on defense that week in your 32-second, make stops in that 32-second, and then take advantage of the 52 on the opposite end. I think that's the way the Water Dogs should go this weekend, is get your wins kind of when you can, and make your opportunities last. But you gotta make stops on those. You gotta make stops on those 32-second shot clocks, and then also counteract in the 52 and take advantage when you can.
We do have rosters coming out right now.
Oh, nice.
I can read you the Water Dogs and Whipsnakes because those are the first ones that popped up on my timeline. The Water Dogs, fascinating thing here, larger reserve roster for the postseason. It's like everyone's all hands on deck, pretty much. They have 6 guys on the reserve roster. So it's pretty much everyone's available if needed, I would assume. But your Water Dogs roster on the 19, Kieran McCardle, CJ Kurse, Michael Sowers, Jimmy Freehill, Kenny Brower, Ben Randall, Stathakis, Matt DeLuca, Dylan Ward, Ben Ware, Marcus Hudgens at the LSM spots, Jack Hanna, Thomas McConvey, Connor Kelly, Mikey Schlosser, Zach Courier, Dylan Hess, Matt Witcher, and Christian Scarpello is back, which is a great sign because he was injured in that game against the New York Atlas in the final week of the season. So good to see him back. And then on the reserve roster, Jake Taylor, Mikey Boehm, Jack D. Benedetto, Eli Gobrek, Michael Lampert, Charlie Hayes. Any surprises?
No. I guess maybe McCombie over Taylor, maybe, but really, no.
I'm just happy because we talked about it last week. I'm happy Mike Schlosser's back in the lineup.
A lot of people said he should be there.
Us included, because his
Yep.
speed was on full display in that Atlas game. And if you're getting a guy his size with that quickness and fleetness of foot, that's a great thing for this midfield and gives them another dimension there. Your Whipsnakes roster: Rob Pennell, TJ Malone, Aiden Carroll, Tim Muller, Matt Dunn, Ajax Zapatello, Joe Nardella, Brendan Krebs, Emmett Carroll, Jack McDonald, Colin Squires, Colin Heacock, Brad Smith, Matt Brandow, Adam Patra, Levi Anderson, Roman Puglisi, Jake Bernhardt, who will make his 20th career postseason appearance, and Christian Mazer at the short stick D midi spot. Reserve roster: Matt Rambo, Matthew Palato, Alex Mazzone, Jack Corris, Ryan Ogevin, and Kyle Aldridge. Any shockers there from the Whips?
No. The Rips have kind of been running the same game day roster all year. And Stags is kind of known for that. He doesn't make too much change unless necessary. So, absolutely not.
Nothing from Carolina or California yet. So, some good rosters nonetheless. It's going to be very exciting to see those two kind of duke it out. If you had, let's put these out there for each team that's playing this weekend. Who's your X factor that you want to see step up that could or will help each respective team advance to the semifinals?
I think it's got to be goalie play for the Water Dogs. I think that if you get exceptional goalie play like you've gotten a couple times this year, you win. The Whipsnakes, I would love to see TJ Malone kind of be TJ Malone again. I think that would be huge for them. I think he's kind of that added spark. I feel like Aiden Carroll and Matt Brandow have kind of been on all year. And if you can add TJ Malone to that, you're really just cooking up a recipe. Chaos. Anasio. It's either going to be him or Owen Hills. I think either he's got to step up and have a really good game at the stripe to neutralize TD, or the defense plays really well and Owen Hiltz pops off on the other end with that added 52 seconds that they get off the stops. And in the Redwoods, it's the same guy that's had to show up all year long, and has but hasn't. Ryder. Would love to see Ryder kind of crack this curse he has against Jared Newman. But I mean, Dylan Malloy is going to be Dylan Malloy. Chris Kavanaugh is going to be fun to watch. You're going to get TD at the stripe. What do you get? It's so
weird that Ryder has this like Jared Newman battle, but he's the one player in the PLL that has the upper hand against Blaze.
Yeah.
Like, I forget what the number was, but I remember a couple years ago I tweeted Joe Keegan, and I was like, because it felt like Ryder was just exorbitantly outperforming any other player scoring on Blaze, and Ryder was like above and beyond what the average PLL player was when it came to scoring on Blaze, which is crazy that like he's the one that has the code to crack Blaze, but also we've never seen Ryder Garnsey score the same goal twice, nor have we seen him take the same photo twice. So
I just think that's part of the reason why Jarrett goes so hard in that matchup is he's just trying to help out Blaze. That's how you win games, helping out the next guy, the guy next to you.
My X factors, I'll go in reverse order. Chaos, for me, it's going to be Troy Ray. I think Troy Ray he's had a phenomenal year. He's obviously an LSM of the year finalist like candidate. If he plays his game and is dialed in and, is able to neutralize one of these like just unbelievable rookies on the Redwoods, whomever he gets as his matchup that they decide to put him on. I think Troy Wright can be a huge X factor, especially in transition. We've seen him score, I think, a lot more often than not this year, whether it's contributing to scores or scoring himself. Troy Ray is going to be my chaos X factor. For the Redwoods, um, it's tough to pick one player in particular, but and I want to go different than you because I obviously feel like Ryder is such a massive X factor in any game that the Redwoods play. But I do feel like a huge X factor for this game is going to be Brian Devlin. I think this game is very different than a traditional PLL playoff game. I think this game could be very low scoring because the defenses have been very, very good for both teams this year. And if Tev is able to win his matchup, go out there and be that Swiss Army knife we've seen him be throughout the early stages of his young and promising career, he's a captain on this team, maybe not by title, but you certainly see it out on the field and you hear it in his voice. He's really stepped up this year, and I think Brian Devlin's a huge X factor in this game for the Woods in a multitude of ways. For the Whips, I think it's got to be Ajax. That matchup against Michael Sowers is always must-see TV. Stags has been on the record saying we drafted Ajax Zapatello to neutralize Michael Sowers because we've never had a defenseman be able to do it since Sowers came into the league before they drafted Ajax. He's stepped up for that matchup more often than not, and it's just another chapter in that attackman versus defender battle. And if the Whips want to win, they're going to have to neutralize an MVP candidate, an attackman of the year finalist, and that's a guy who is playing to punch his ticket to have a home game in his backyard. So I think Ajax is my X factor for the Whips. And then for the Water Dogs, as silly as it sounds, my X factor is Michael Sowers. We've seen him this year have phenomenal games. That's why he's an MVP candidate. That's why he's an attackman of the year finalist. But we've also seen against this very Whipsnakes team, him get neutralized after popping off. Whipsnakes make some adjustments, and then he's not able to go out and do Michael Sowers things again. And that effectively shuts off the entire operation of the Water Dogs offense. If the Water Dogs want to win, they have to make Michael Sowers a multi-dimensional, just like wizard out there, and let him play his game, let him figure things out, and not force the ball to Michael Sowers. Let Michael Sowers force the ball to others. Let everyone get involved, and it all start. We've seen this Water Dogs offense cook in person and on TV throughout this entire season. When Michael Sowers is able to dish the ball, the Water Dogs offense succeeds. If Michael Sowers can pass the ball effectively, can get everyone on this offense involved, it's going to be a very, very exciting game and could be very, very successful for the Philadelphia Water Dogs and helping them punch their ticket to another semifinal and playing at Subaru Park on September 1st. So those are our X factors. You're going goalie play for the Dogs. You're going TJ Malone for the Whips. I also do wonder, I remember last game of the year, TJ was like, it was reported that he was questionable going into their game with a back injury. I wonder how much this rest has been able to help him kind of get as close to 100% and what that back is feeling like. I mean, he looked pretty okay in their last game, but also didn't look like all-world TJ Malone. He just looked like a very good version of TJ Malone, which some games that's okay, and that was perfectly okay against the Boston Cannons in that last game of the regular season. So I do wonder what TJ's overall, health status is, and hopefully he's feeling okay, obviously. Ryder is your X factor for the Redwoods, and Justin Inacio was your initial X factor for the Chaos. I've got Michael Sowers for the Water Dogs. I've got Ajax Zapatello for the Whips, Brian Tevlin for the Redwoods, and Troy Ray for the Carolina Chaos. Is it also kind of wild that we have 3 of the 4 coaches coaching this weekend, coaching in their first PLL playoff games?
I guess just a little bit on the west side. Because you do kind of, I think everybody expected Utah to be back in, and at least one of the first year head coaches not to be in. I think the East was a little more of a toss up, and like any of the 4 teams could have not been there. I think Atlas might have been in a separate category, but the other 3 were definitely kind of just in a, hey, who's going to be the odd one out scenario. So I don't think it's too surprising, but I think just a little more surprising on the West and in the East.
Yeah, 3 of the 4 coaches making their PLL postseason coaching debuts in Minnesota. Bill Tierney coaching in his first PLL playoff game, Anthony Kelly and Roy Colsey. What did you make of the, I don't know if you got a chance to, I didn't get a chance to watch the full thing, but I've seen the clips and the posts. What'd you make of the Bill Tierney, mockumentary that...
Did you watch it?
I watched some of it.
I think we should talk
about all of his rings.
I think we should talk about it after you finish watching.
They made that man... I love the quote. The quote is just all time.
I want you to finish watching it before we dive into this.
But also just hilarious that on the spot they made him go dig in a box for all of his rings.
I mean, more so he wanted to.
It was very funny though. He was like, I know exactly where it's at. That he's got this giant box.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's where my rings.
He's like, I can't show you my rings without showing you all of them.
Also hysterical that he said he wasn't doing a Bill Belichick picture.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to do that either. It's kind of extra.
Very Jalen Hurts-esque of him saying he's never put them on either.
I don't think Bill has.
He said, I've never put them on. And
no,
I know,
but I very much believe that. I think some people say that and are bullshitting. I don't believe Bill is bullshitting at all.
Isn't it funny, too, seeing all of those rings laid out on that table and, what rings look like now?
It made me feel young, which I liked. Some of those rings were older than me.
Yeah, they were.
I mean, you too, shit.
I know.
It's nice.
Yeah.
You on the young side for once.
Well, I get to feel that way all the time whenever I'm talking about the NFL because arch rival got them bronze rings down there in Dallas.
Down where?
Down there in Jerry World.
They won a Super shit.
Before you were born.
I didn't even know they won one. They've been so bad in my lifetime. I thought they was like some of these other teams.
They have not been back to the big game in my sister's lifetime. My sister was born 2 months after they won their last one.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope it keeps staying that way. Long live Jerry Jones.
It's the only time I've ever heard that.
LLJJ. But yeah, it's crazy seeing some of those rings and what championship rings look like now. Especially seeing the Eagles Super Bowl ring this year. I mean, even the PLL rings, seeing the Archers ring from this year, and what that looks like in comparison is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even the commemorative ring that they gave to fans, it looks better than some of those old school ones. Crazy. Crazy. They ain't even do nothing.
No. They were the 12th man.
That 11th. I need you to be able to do math.
I'm just out here quoting the Seattle Seahawks.
I hear you, but that's just simple math.
I'm not here to be a mathematician.
All right, bro. I didn't know 10 plus 1 is rocket science now.
Hey, it's a Friday. I've barely slept this week.
Me too.
It feels like rocket science.
Get out of here.
Okay. feels like rocket science. A lot of things feels like rocket science nowadays.
No kids.
I haven't heard you say that in forever. We talk about rocket science. That took me to the moon.
It just felt right, bro. It felt right. You're right, bro. I haven't said that in a while. I need to put that back in rotation.
Also, I tweeted this out during the bye week. Just an interesting note of PLL sponsorship news. The championship game is now sponsored by U.S. Bank. Obviously, the past couple years, it's been sponsored by Cash App. I don't know if that means Cash App is gone because they were just all over street lacrosse and they've been investors like with them and boardroom and everything. So they're also still listed as an official partner on the PLL website. I just wonder if it's one of those things that U.S. Bank, I mean, the PLL just put out their numbers too for the regular season this year as we record this, and it's been quite a boost. But I do also have Deej, the California Redwoods roster, if you're ready for it. A little bit of delay there, but hey, they're operating on West Coast time. California Redwoods roster for their matchup against the Carolina Chaos. Dylan Malloy, Ryder Garnsey, Chris Cavanaugh, Chris Conlon. Chris Fake is active. He was on the injury report, so that's good to see. He's ready to rock and roll. Cole Kastner, TD and Chase, and Matt Note, Ryland Reese, Jared Connors, Andrew McAdory, Romar Dennis, JB34, Charlie Bertrand, Aiden Denenza gets the nod in the 19, Carter Rice, Brian Tevlin, BJ Farrar, and then the protected roster, Brendan Nickturn, Zach Vieg, Sam Hanley, Cole Kirst, Connor Smile, Camille.
Pretty sure it's Smile.
And then Carter Parlett.
Don't fix what ain't broke. The Redwoods been running this roster for about 4 or 5 weeks now. Don't fix what ain't broke. I have no surprises here. No changes, no wishes. Chalk is chalk.
Yeah, and everyone is also saying that this feels like something that wasn't announced, but now that everyone is rostered for the playoffs is a new change. Because I didn't remember that being a thing last year
It was
at all.
not. It was
So
not.
it was like, that's new. Trying to see if Chaos have tweeted theirs yet. No, they have not. But yeah, when it comes to the PLL numbers, like, the haters are sick. I was told the PLL couldn't sell out games, Deej.
It depends on who you ask.
The official regular season numbers for the 2025 performance of the PLL on the broadcast side of things, plus 24% on ABC and plus 46% across ESPN. I would assume that's including ESPN2 and ESPN Plus numbers as a whole. It just lists ESPN, but I would assume it's all of their entities. Live events, plus 11% in ticketing revenue, 12 sellout games. Highest attendance was in Chicago and Boston. Social media, plus 23% on followers, 1.2 billion impressions. Sponsorship, up 20%, with notable additions of Lexus and U.S. Bank. And then the new 5-year ESPN deal that begins in 2026 that we also saw in the new rollout of the brand new ESPN app, John Cena mentioning the PLL as he went over the abbreviations of every single sports league available on ESPN. And I was like, I never thought I would see John Cena say PLL in my life. Pretty good, though. Pretty good.
I need to see a clip of that.
Yeah,
but I mean, hey, they're continuing to make a trend up. You know, they're getting drop down links. They're getting posts on the front page ESPN. It continues to be an exciting thing.
Yeah, and You can keep up to date with everything going on in the PLL this postseason with the PLL app. Download the PLL app, guys, in the App Store, Google Play Store. It's the one-stop shop to keep up to date with everything going on around the league, from behind-the-scenes videos at practice, press conferences, articles from the beat writers, PLL fantasy, and more. Go to the redeem code section when you download the PLL app, and you'll get 500 XP on your account when you use code OTBPOD. That's code OTBPOD for 500 XP on your PLL account. So download the PLL app today and keep up to date with everything going on throughout this PLL postseason and beyond with the PLL app. Deej, I think we have one thing left to do with our PLL breakdown here of the playoffs. We have picks to get to in the postseason. Some postseason picks as we head on over to the pick pond. It's been a while since we've taken a trip there. Feed some ducks and dish out our PLL Quarterfinals picks of the week, brought to you by Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny Finder, see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Pittsburgh, Maryland, and Delaware areas. You can also find Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores in those markets. Again, that's kenwoodbeer.com. Must be 21 or older to do so. And as always, guys, please drink responsibly. It's the Kenwood Beer Bowl in this first matchup, Deej, with the Maryland Whipsnakes and the Philadelphia Water Dogs. Crack open those Kennys, Maryland and Philadelphia. But, Deej, we start with that aforementioned matchup at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. It's the 2-seed Maryland Whipsnakes, the 3-seed Philadelphia Water Dogs in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Who you got advancing to Subaru Park on Monday, September 1st for the PLL semifinals?
I have no explanation from this. Please don't hate me, but I'm going to pick the Whipsnakes. I don't know. I don't trust the Water Dogs right now. I think that's what it goes back to. Would love to see the Water Dogs win. I really have no skin in this game, other than being a habitual Maryland hater. I have zero skin in this game, so whoever comes out of this side isn't a huge bother to me, for the betterment of the pod, for the betterment of you and your mental health, for the betterment of our friendship. I would like to see the Dogs win.
I'll live. It's just for the betterment of our Philadelphia listeners.
But I am leaning toward the Whipsnakes for whatever reason.
Yeah, both these games are wildly difficult to pick because they are so evenly matched. I am going with the Water Dogs because I just can't get the motivation of, you win this game, you get a home game. Like, something just keeps coming back. As much as I break this game down, something in the back of my head is just like telling me, hey, the Water Dogs win this, they get to play it at home in front of a home crowd for a chance to go to a championship. And I just can't knock that from my brain. I don't know why. I won't be shocked if the Whipsnakes win, because of the prowess and the pedigree of Jim Stagnita and this staff. They know what it takes to win in the playoffs. I think this game is going to be wildly close, as we always see these two teams play close games. And it's just going to be another great installment in the Whipsnakes Water Dogs rivalry. But I'm going to go with the Dogs for reasons that are beyond the field of play and just like the additional motivation that they can have if they play their cards right and they get to go play a home game in the semis. So I'm going to go with the Dogs. We move to the Western Conference at 8:30 Eastern Time on ESPN+. The California Redwoods, the Carolina Chaos, an Original Six rivalry. I'll start. Don't hate me. It's just one of those things that I also cannot knock from my brain. And you want to talk about a team that loves having any sort of motivation? It's the Carolina Chaos. We had end-of-year award nominees announced this week. Roy Colsey not named in the Coach of the Year finalist list. You want to talk about a team that needs any ounce of motivation to just go and play their asses off? I think that's a boost for them. And I think Carolina are a team that year in and year out, every single person on the planet outside of a small decimal percentage doubts this team, and they show up in the playoffs and prove those people wrong. I've been saying it all year. The one time that the PLL did not have a championship in Philadelphia, Carolina went to the title game. I can't knock that out of my mind. They're a team that loves any sort of motivation. They have an elite back end. I think defense can win you championships in this league. I'm going with Carolina to get the win.
I think both these teams have good defenses and pretty good goalie play, especially the last couple of weeks. I think both these teams have electric offenses that have really woken up and have provided a huge spark for them. So what does that mean? This game will be won in the middle of the field. And looking across these two teams, I'm going to take the Redwoods middle of the field unit simply because of TD. I think LSM play is pretty even across the two. I think short stick play, offensively or defensively, depending on who's on the wing, it's pretty even across these two. But TD's better than Justin Inacio. That's the only reason I'm taking the Redwoods to win this game, is because I think they win the middle of the field, which gives them more opportunities to score the ball.
It is, it's going to be a fun week, like Saturday of lacrosse. Like Saturday night, go get your snacks, get your takeout, get whatever you want, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Be sure to get your Kenwood beer. I do not have Hoots' picks just yet, so we'll see those on the graphic when we get that out there for everyone. But to recap, Deej, you've got Whips, Redwoods. I've got Water Dogs, Chaos. So you have the 2019 championship advancing to the semifinals. I've got the 2022 championship advancing to the semifinals, as they each await the New York Atlas and Denver Outlaws in Philadelphia. But those are our PLL Quarterfinals picks of the week, brought to you by Kenwood Beer. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. But one last bit of news here, brought to you by our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. Guys, you want to stand out in the crowd with the official favorite lacrosse players' favorite lacrosse podcast merchandise, PHI Apparel Company is the place to do it. Get your official Outside the Box podcast t-shirts and hoodies from our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. Go to phiapparel.co, and when you go to checkout, use code Underground for 10% off your next merch order. Again, that's code Underground for 10% off your next merch order from PHI Apparel Company, and stand out in the crowd with the official merch partner of OTB and Underground Sports Philadelphia. And we're back, and guess what? That's not Deej. Da-da-da-da. Could you imagine if it was? Holy shit. No, Hoots is here. Deej had a hard out earlier when we were recording, had a work event that he had to go to, so we didn't get to finish the show properly, so we called in Hoots. We used the Hoots on the ground signal, and we're going to yell about the NLL, because more NLL happenings have happened this week. The Albany FireWolves are no more, and since Deej and I paused the recording, it is official. They are the Oshawa FireWolves, which I can't get out of my head thinking of Oshawa, the Pokemon, and that is all I'm going to ever be able to refer to this team as from here on out. My biggest issue with this, Hoots, is since New York relocated to Ottawa, Panther City folds, Albany now relocates to Oshawa, Ontario. It just feels like every NLL offseason is Russian roulette of some team is going to change their location or cease to exist. We almost had it again with Rochester. Luckily, they got saved by the Seneca Nation. But, like, you know, we had Rochester leave previously and go to Halifax, and then it was like, oh, look, Rochester's risen from the ashes as the new Rochester Nighthawks. But it's like, at what point do we just, like, I feel like that meme where it's like, why can't you just be normal? And then you look in the back seat and it's the kid just screaming. Like, that's what the NLL is to me right now. Like, they can never just not be normal for once.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've had this discussion with my dad tons of times where it just feels like at times, like, not that the league is failing per se, but just like it almost feels like they got too big too quick in a sense to where now it can't be contained. And unfortunately, when you have owners who, in PCLC's case, just want money and don't care about the long game of this thing, or in Albany's case or Rochester's case, recognize that it's expensive to play in the state of New York for a lot of reasons. If you're not bringing in the fan base, like, you can't not only make money, but you can't even break even, which means you can't really have a team there. And it's unfortunate that, like, this has happened year over year now, where it's like you said, every year it's like, who's moving this year? And obviously you hope that, like, Ottawa does well, but, like, I wasn't overall thoroughly impressed with how they did last year. I didn't think it was any better necessarily than New York. I hope Oshawa does well, but, like, who's to say that community accepts them over Toronto? That's, you know, roughly the same distance, or whoever else. And like you said, thankfully, like, Rochester's there to stay, but, like, they're going to rely heavily on the fans to show up again. And, you know, obviously it's great that they got Zed to help with that, but, like, these problems don't seem to be going away anytime soon unless they can find a way to bring in more revenue and overall just more fans, honestly.
And that's where, like, I sit on this too. And it's like, I've talked about this a number of times with Deej. I've talked this to Adam Levy. I've talked to this to a number of people. It feels like the NLL truly just markets themselves to Canada and Buffalo and Colorado. Rightfully so for those two U.S. teams. But if you want to succeed as a league entity, you have to market all of your markets. Like, you have Philadelphia in market. You have Georgia, who is like Metro Atlanta area. Sure, it's not in Atlanta, but still, it's
close enough.
Close enough to where, like, you can market it down there to Atlanta sports fans. You have San Diego, a city that is dying for sports because their sports teams were taken away from them. You have Las Vegas, which is this hot hipster sports city, and however you want to feel about that is whatever. But, and then outside of that, like, yes, Rochester is back, but then what else do you have in the United States? Not much. And I've joked about this a ton, but it genuinely feels like we are headed towards a timeline where at the end of the day, who's to say, like, the NLL just operates in Canada and then Buffalo and Colorado exist? Like, that's what it feels like we're trending towards. Vancouver, Saskatchewan, Calgary, Toronto, Ottawa. Now you have Oshawa. You have Halifax. Who am I forgetting?
Should be 7, I believe. Well, 6 right now, I think.
So that's the 7. You know, Buffalo and Rochester are close enough to the border. And then it's like, Philly is here, now all by their lonesome. Georgia's all the way down here, all by their lonesome. Colorado's out here. Vegas is here. San Diego's here. It's a primarily Canadian league now.
Yep. I don't know that I would go as far as saying just Buffalo and Colorado, because I do think San Diego, as small as they are, they're big in the same, not the same way, but it's they have a good fan base that, like you said, I think cares about sports enough to make it work, and I think their owner cares enough to make it work, kind of no matter what. As for, like, Georgia, their owner must really love Georgia because they don't have a good turnout, like, ever. I don't think I've ever watched a Georgia Swarm game and been like, wow, look at this crowd. Not one time. Why they don't go back to Minnesota, I don't know. It's closer for your Canadians. It's still in the U.S. I don't, but as far as like the rumors about the Wings, like I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know the validity of them.
Talking off pod, we don't understand.
It doesn't make sense logistically either, because like you said, they have some of the best fans there that will support a team, even when the team is losing. By the way, it might not be like overly positive. There are going to be some boos probably, but the fans will be there.
Yep. So the fact that the Wings have not had relatively any success since they've been back in terms of on-floor product, and you're still getting, on average, 6,000 to 7,000 fans per game.
Yep.
It's pretty fucking good.
Which is great, by the way. Like, that's not just for the NLL, for lacrosse. Like, that's a great draw, especially in the States. We're not talking about, like, Calgary, who's like, that's what they do. Like, we're talking about a place that they don't do lacrosse, really. And they're pulling that many fans.
And we're talking about a hotbed where New York has failed time and time again.
Yep.
Outside of Buffalo and Rochester.
Yep.
Here and we are in a hotbed.
Not just this decade either. Like, New York has failed every decade they've been there. And like, that's where like you have to wonder, like, yes, we know for a fact that like the Riptide did not market quite as well as they should have, based on firsthand knowledge from fans, from other people in the league. We recognize that. And that's not a shot at anyone. That's just the truth.
I think my experience going to games, like,
like it's a full, we know that like that was a thing. It's also a problem though that like the league has not figured out how to market those teams, because as much as you can say, hey, they should have marketed themselves, the league should have stepped in and said, hey, the Titans failed here. Rochester failed once. New England isn't in New York, I recognize, but they failed once. Like, they should have stepped in and been like, we're going to try these things and get it to work. And yet here we are again, where they're moving, and like, it makes sense financially for them, especially because I know there's like some tax insurance issues or something like that in the state of New York for Albany. But like, we have 6 teams in like one little circle.
It's crazy how close they are. And now you have Oshawa coming in, playing closer to Toronto than the actual team from Toronto.
Yeah.
Which is funny for our part, because Jamie Dowick is Jamie Dowick, and it makes me happy to be able to laugh at certain things about him. But it's like, really? We have a relocated team playing closer to a city that a team already exists in the city.
Yep.
What are we doing?
And like I told you off pod, like, don't get me wrong, I do think that like, the Peterborough area and things of that nature will support the team, but I'm like, now you're asking like, one shared group of fans to choose between the two. And if I'm already a Rock fan, why would I then be like, sorry, I'm going over here?
Which we just did with Albany being in upstate New York, where Buffalo and Rochester exist.
Right.
Who's going to pick the Albany FireWolves? And that's no slight to Albany. Like, that's just where the team was placed. But, like, who's going to pick this brand new team when you have this fucking Thanos-esque Titan in the Buffalo Bandits? You have the rich history of Rochester and the Rochester Nighthawks, even though it's a new iteration of them. That history still exists, and those fans from that era still exist. Who's going to pick a brand new team that has no connection to them whatsoever? And why we created a triangle of upstate New York will never make sense to me.
Well, especially when they had the 4th team with the Riptide at one point.
Right.
I'm like, why?
Which, like, even that I was fine with, because that was like Long Island. It was its own entity. Like, that's, a much more easy to get to place for like metropolitan New York and New York City and stuff like that. But why were we overpopulating New York the way we were?
And also, like, the Riptide should have been marketed as the Long Island Riptide.
Mm-hmm.
So that way it truly is like a, hey, this is your team. Not like a, oh, hey, you're just lumped in with these other teams over here. Because like you said, like, why, if I'm in New York, like, why would I not then just be like, hey, I'm a Bandits fan. I'm a fan of the best team that's there. Like, that's, I think, stupid.
The Riptide caught a raw end of the deal when the New York Islanders left the Coliseum and built their new arena. And then those two teams never got a chance to coexist together. You
100%.
see the teams that are successful in the NLL, that are like wildly successful, whether it be on the floor product, fan base, or a combination of the two. You're Colorado Mammoth. They're in the same building as the Denver Nuggets and as the Avalanche. The Buffalo Bandits are in the same building as the Buffalo Sabres. The Philadelphia Wings are in the same building as the Flyers and the Sixers. The teams that have been successful, especially in North America, like continental U.S. North America, share a building with a major four sports team. And that's why I'm optimistic about Ottawa, because they share a building with the Ottawa Senators. Why Toronto can't share a building with the Maple Leafs and the Raptors is beyond me, but Jamie Dowick. Vancouver shares a building with the Canucks, same ownership group. That's where you see, the Roughnecks and the Flames. You see the successes when there's symbiotic relationships, and that's why I get skeptical. Not everyone's going to be Halifax. Not everyone's going to be Rochester. Not everyone's going to be able to be like San Diego. The teams that come in, that's why I'm always eerie about Las Vegas, because there's no connection to the Golden Knights with that ownership group. There's no connection, for Oshawa with a major four sports team. Saskatchewan's able to do it because they are. It's similar to Halifax, where that is their professional team. I want, box lacrosse is obviously Canada's national sport. That's their thing. I get that. But when you continue to relocate teams to Canada, what are your fans in the U.S. supposed to think? Especially with the way things have gone over the past couple of years, Philly, these rumors are swirling around. We don't know where they're coming from. You have Georgia, San Diego, Vegas. I think Rochester, Buffalo, and Colorado are safe, obviously, for a number of reasons. But those other teams I just mentioned, it's why shouldn't fans be on edge and wonder if they're next?
Yep.
And it's not how you build currency with your fans if you're the NLL. And I put very little blame on Brett Frood for this, and I honestly put very little blame on the prior administration of the NLL. It's a combination of the two. It's coming out of a global pandemic. It's coming out of, being off for nearly 3 years. Your 2019-2020 season was shortened, and teams played a maximum, I think, of 8 games if they had a doubleheader during that time. Then the season was canceled. 2020-2021 was canceled completely, and then you come back 2021-2022 in a delayed start, and you were just working back through all of that, and I still don't think the NLL has fully gotten back from recovering from the pandemic.
Yeah, and I mentioned this to you guys in the group chat. Like you said, I think so much of this is out of the league's control, the literal league's control, but then it still reflects negatively on the league. Mm-hmm. They can't blame PCLC's owner for saying, we want out. Should they have vetted the owners before selling them a team? Maybe. But also, who's to say that they didn't do their due diligence and the owners at that time were hey, we're all in on this, and then ended up saying, actually, we're not, Mm-hmm. Then you go into Rochester's situation. I can't blame the Pagulas for saying, hey, we already run a very successful organization over here. We don't want to run two. I get that. You can't blame the league for Albany's owners now saying, hey, this is not financially feasible for us. We're not getting the fan base either. So that's 2 negatives. You're basically 2 for 2 at that point. We have to move. The downside, obviously, for us in the States is that now they're going up north, because chances are, if they work out there, they're not coming back down. Mm-hmm. Even if they don't work out there, they're still probably not coming back down. Because at that point, it's just stay up there. You have a decent box fan base there anyway. So it sucks to be I see a lot of people on Twitter and stuff bashing the league, and I'm well, I get it, but that's not their fault. Like you were saying, it's the teams have to want to make this work at the same time. And I'm not vouching for them to purposely take a loss, but you also have to understand that like these teams are not part of the core four. Like the league's not part of the core four. They don't have the backing. Like I see people comparing it to the WNBA all the time. It's not the same way. They don't have another league subsidizing it. Like the WNBA can survive right now because they also get NBA backing. Who's backing the NLL or the PLL for that matter? It's just them. So like it sucks, but this goes to show A, support your teams that are local to you as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And B, for the league, like make sure that where you're locating these teams makes financial sense for the long run, not just like the literal operating costs of paying a player and the building, but like taxes, insurance, transportation. The fact that you can't get a direct flight from Albany to Toronto or vice versa easily is laughable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are we putting a team there that's comprised of mostly Canadians when that's where they're coming from? That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I place some blame on the league is like you have to think about those things when you're placing teams, because this literally could be the end of a franchise completely. And I would hate to see that happen, but like you got to think about those things. So I say all that to say, I hope that this move lands them in Oshawa for the next decade plus. And in 10 years, we're looking back and saying, hey, this was a great move. But if it doesn't work out, like FireWolves are done in my mind.
The track record is that it may not work out. We've seen that time and time again with relocations, with moves. Like, a lot of times it doesn't work out. And, like, that sucks. But it's also like, hey, we got to learn from this mistake and, you know, kind of put our best foot forward. And that's what gets me nervous about the teams in the United States not named Colorado and Buffalo and Rochester now, because they have brand new ownership that feels like they are in this for the long haul.
Yep.
It's like,
because they actually care about lacrosse,
right,
if you pay attention to it.
And it's like, okay, Philadelphia, Georgia, San Diego, Las Vegas. Those are the 4 teams remaining outside of the other 3. Like, you're 7-7 now. And we were talking off pod, like, does this not feel like a time where you should go back to conferences or divisions and have Canadian conference, U.S. conference, and build that way? You have 7-7 split up evenly now. Do it. What harm is it going to bring? Like, I genuinely think at first the unified standings, it was a cool thing. It felt like it was going to bring a lot of parity to the league. Looking at it now, because we're what, 4 years into that now? 3 years into it?
I think only 2.
It's I'm gonna check because I forget when.
Because I think it was right after the Mammoth won that championship. Then we played 2 seasons as unified, and this is now the would be the 3rd.
So they adopted it going into the 2023-2024 season. So yeah.
So we just finished the second one.
The second one. In the 2 years of it, looking at it now, and I know it's a short sample size, I feel like it's done more harm for the growth of the league, for the parity of the league, because time and time again, you're seeing the same fucking teams in the playoffs, the same teams competing for championships, and it gives no unique quality to, like, how we're looking at the PLL right now with 8 teams. Any of those 8 teams going into a given year, we feel like can win the championship.
Yep.
Going into an NLL season right now, it's like, okay, who can dethrone the Buffalo Bandits?
Yep.
It's almost, and this is no slight to the guys on the team. We fucking love those dudes. It's the format that we have a problem with, and it's like, it's worse than the Kansas City Chiefs. Like,
yep.
At least the Chiefs have shown they can, you know, have some blows in their armor in multiple, you know, situations. When the Bandits have had blows in their armor, they have somehow found a way to get stronger and come back bigger and better than ever, and now they're on this tear, and it almost feels like nobody can take them down.
Yep. And I mean, part of that is teams kind of gifting them players. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned this a while back. Like, I think 2 years ago when Paul Dawson got traded back to Buffalo, it made sense for him as a player, but like the Mammoth basically gave him back on a silver platter and said, here's a championship level defender, like have fun. You know, you look last year and you look at the guys they had at Kyle Matisse, a couple other guys, and I'm like, why are you like you're giving them more ammo that you're not ever going to get back? Like, I'm sorry. But then also like we even talked when Unified Standing started about like it seems like the league's big enough you need the conferences. And I remember speaking to you about like PLL is probably not at that point where they need conferences, but they went to it and the NLL did the opposite. And it was like, wait, why?
Yeah. This
needs to be reversed. And now again, we're at a point where like you said, every year it's like, who's playing for second place?
Literally.
I'm sorry. Like as well as my Mammoths were playing prior to losing the guys we did, are they beating Buffalo? You know, prior to Vancouver getting CDB and some other guys, are they beating Buffalo? San Diego, as many stars as they had in the offseason, are they like, you go down the list and you're like, nope. Like, and like I told you, I don't think the league should step in or anything. Like they built that team on their own, but teams need to also recognize that sometimes it's better to just hold on to guys and not give them up to help the team win another championship because you need guys in your building. They already have that. It's a given.
Which is also why, like, I'm glad Rochester was sold because this is chrome foil hat time, everybody. Put your chrome foil hats on. Who's to say the money that Rochester were bringing in was not being funneled to the fucking Bandits? It's the same ownership group.
Yep.
Same thing can be said about Vegas and San Diego. Who's to say the Vegas money, to some degree, is not being funneled to San Diego to pay all those big stars to be on that team? Like, is it happening? Probably not. But when you have a league where you have multiple teams owned by the same owner or ownership group, it's fair to question it. It's fair to speculate it because it's like, how is one team that you own so fucking good or so littered with superstars and the other team can barely win 3 games? The other team is a roller coaster ride year in and year out. Yep. It begs the question, and it's fair if you're a fan to wonder, and I don't know if fans have ever thought about that the way we do because we have questioned why that's allowed in any other sport. You would be like burned at the stake, you know? And it's like, I question all the time with Josh Harris, like, why is he, and it's different because it's different leagues, but it would be like if Josh Harris owned the Sixers and the Nuggets. It would be like if Josh Harris owned the Devils and the Flyers. It would be like if he owned the fucking Commanders and the New York Giants. Like, that doesn't happen. But in the NLL, we allow it. And it's like, yeah, we're fine with that. Totally cool. And, like, good on those owners. Like, tip of the cap to you. You're a fucking billionaire and you can own multiple teams. I wish I could have a drop in the bucket of that money. But the fact that the NLL has allowed that to happen for as long as it has and continues it now, and this is no slight to Joe Tsai, but it's like, why is that allowed? I continue to wonder why that is a thing. And it just like, the NLL as a whole over the past couple of years has really frustrated me. And it's to no fault of Brett Frood. It's to no fault of even like the owners or the players. It's just the structure of the building that is the NLL. There's so many flaws inside the building of the NLL that when you throw around a tagline of the next major league and you have stuff like this happening year in and year out, newsflash, every other major league does not have this happening year over year.
Yeah. And I do like, it sucks because I like when that was thrown out and I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. Like it's all, I'm on board. And then all of a sudden, then it's like PCLC's out. Okay. They clearly didn't tell the league. Rochester, then there's rumors of them moving, which ends up just being that the owners didn't want to own them anymore. Okay, well, was that communicated to the league? Because now you have 2. Oh, now Albany comes in and is like, we don't like. Is any of this being communicated?
From New York to Ottawa.
I'm like, why are none of you communicating that? Like, hey, we're kind of out on this. I don't. It feels like they are just the teams individually are kind of just being like, well, we don't want to do it, so. And then you're leaving the league out to dry. And now when the league has a marketing strategy like that and a tagline, like you're saying, it makes them look like a joke because now it's like, you can't be the next major league. Look at all these things that are happening. And even though it's not in their control per se, it makes it look like it's in their control. And it's happened year over year. And like, I remember specifically, this was about 3 years ago now. My dad mentioned to me one time, he was like, it feels like at any moment, every offseason, like the league could just collapse like that. Mm-hmm. And at the time I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is just one little thing. And now it's like every offseason, this thing's happening. And it's like, at what point does it end? And a big part of it to me is like, we got to get these teams owned by the same people that own the NHL teams, that own the building.
Or the NBA team.
And preferably own the building as a whole. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, in most parts of life, most ways of life, I'm against monopolies. In a sports league, that is like the NLL, that's the most efficient way to do it. The fact
that's
that
what the WNBA is doing. Like, that's what they're pushing.
Yeah.
They want the NBA market to own the WNBA team, which makes sense. I'm going to pull it up to soccer and everything. You look at Premier League, you have a men's and women's team owned under the same umbrella. You know, for my team that I root for in particular, you have the Brighton and Hove Albion men's team, you have the women's team. It's not like they're two separate entities. Not that like I'd want like name changes to happen for, you know, the teams that are in the same markets, but it's like it makes more sense because then there's a symbiotic relationship with those teams and you're able to go out in the community together. You're able to go and promote the teams together. And, you know, who's to say like you can have, you know, double headers. You know, you could have a WNBA team playing in the afternoon and at night the NBA team is playing. That's what it should be. You know, you have a 2-for-1 type of special. You have a ticketing package where it's like, hey, you get tickets to both games for this price. And it's like a discounted rate. It's still enough where team is making money off of both games. But that should be the same thing with the NHL and the NLL. Like, you should be able to have a Wings game, just using them as the example, at 1 o'clock, Flyers game at 7 o'clock. Here's a combo ticket for X amount of dollars. You get in the building for both. You can stay in the building for both. Or you know, you have to re-enter, whatever it may be, but your ticket is good for both games.
Yep.
Here you go. Like, that should be the marketing strategy. And it just feels like we're going to shuttle as many teams off to Canada. We're going to make all of these teams competing for the Minto Cup and the Man Cup subsidiaries of these teams. And it's just going to be the Canadian Box Lacrosse League featuring the Georgia Swarm, Colorado Mammoth, Buffalo Bandits, Rochester Nighthawks, San Diego Seals, and Vegas Desert Dogs. Or you can call it the Canadian Box Lacrosse League featuring upstate New York, the West Coast, and Georgia.
Yeah.
And hopefully Philadelphia, because the Philadelphia rumors make me want to bash my skull in.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I can speak firsthand to this. Like, when you walk around Ball Arena, there's TVs everywhere. They aren't always playing something, but you know, they are always displaying all the team logos every single time. And I've heard countless fans, including people I personally know, ask, oh, what is that? I've been at Nuggets and Avalanche games, and they're like, oh, wait, what is that? And I'm like, oh, that's the Mammoth. That's NLL team. Oh, okay, I'll have to look into that. And they literally will go to games and love it. So, like, this strategy is proven to work. It works with the Wings. It works with the Mammoth. It works with Calgary. It works with Vancouver. It works with Buffalo. Why we're not being like, you can move, but you need to move to an NHL. You need to partner with an NHL team. You need to be owned by the same people. Like,
and hopefully it works for Ottawa.
Right. Well, and that's my thing too, is like, I know earlier I said, like, I wasn't overly impressed with their attendance in the first year. That's kind of to be expected to a degree. Mm-hmm. I hope and pray that continues to elevate over time. And I'm sure it will, because it's again, it's a proven strategy, but it needs to be more than just a business venture. It needs to be hey, we're trying this for the long haul. This is what we're going to do, and go with it. And I keep seeing fans like complain about like, well, we can't build a fan base off 3 years. I'm like, you didn't show up for 3 years. You didn't show up for 4 years. You didn't show up when the team moved the first time. Like, if you are not moving, like watching the team on TV every time they play, if you're not going to games, if you're not buying merch, do not complain when your team ends up moving, which is where I flip to the other side of this argument. Is like, and the FireWolves are a great example. They had a $450 season ticket package that included so many VIP benefits. I even said on Twitter to Adam Levy last year when he mentioned it, like, that's an insane deal. And they still didn't sell it. So don't give me the BS like, well, we can't build a fan base. You didn't show up. So show up when your teams play for the league, get them with NHL and NBA franchises, and then let's stick with that for 10 plus years. It's not difficult.
And for
it's
the
easy
teams
to do.
too, make your games affordable.
Oh
Don't
my goodness.
price
Yes.
your fans out.
Yes.
Like, that's a huge part of this too, is like, oh, we're not selling out games. Well, let's see why you're not selling out games. Oh, it's because when you have to buy 2 tickets and then there's ticket fees because of who you use for your ticketing partner to purchase tickets, or it's through your arena, and the grand total for your tickets comes out to being over $100 for a non-major 4 sports team, which doesn't include any food, drink, parking, merchandise that you may want to buy. You're pricing your fans out from the jump.
Yep. And like I told you before we started recording, like, I have season tickets. I don't even sit in them. I'm a photographer. I get in for free. I still buy season tickets because the Colorado Mammoth make them affordable enough to where my family can not only watch the game, they can buy food, they can buy drinks, alcoholic drinks at that. So they're already more expensive. And every single time they can buy something from the team shop. And like you were saying, like, we looked at the prices before we jumped on here for the wing shop.
Mm-hmm.
If you're outpricing them in the ticket category, the parking category, the food category, the drink category, and the team store category, why would people show up? And you suck? Why would people show up? Like, let's work on getting those. I understand you have to make money or at least break even or whatnot, but like, sorry, but if I could go pay $100 per ticket for a Wings game or a Flyers game, and the Flyers are playing well, why would I not go to a Flyers game?
Mm-hmm. Like, I look at it this way too. Like, I invested because I want to see every league succeed. I invest in season tickets where I'm like, I can afford it and I'm going to get the most out of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you guys know me, I have Philly season tickets. I've had them since 2023. I'm going to keep those season tickets in my family forever. I also invested in the Water Dogs Homecoming Pass because down the line, when the PLL has their own arenas and everything, I want to be able to have those season tickets to be, hey, our company's booming. Let's invite a nice little client out to come and watch a PLL game, get them introduced to the game. That type of stuff. I'm going to do the same thing when the WNBA comes to Philadelphia. I'm going to buy season tickets immediately because, hey, let's go watch the product. Let's go support the new team in town. I can't afford wing season tickets. And granted, I'm going as media, so like I don't necessarily have the use for them. But if I was able to afford them, I would buy them and say, hey, to my friends, use my tickets. Go watch a game. But looking at the prices, like, I can't afford that.
Yep.
One ticket is far more than I thought it was going to be. And like,
Yeah.
I look like I could get 10 games at a Philadelphia Union season ticket package, 2 seats for like $300 and something total. And that's a successful team that came into the market in 2008, started playing in 2010, and has a rabid fan base. And I want the NLL to recognize that too. Recognize the MLS model to a degree. The MLS has a lot of flaws as well, but look at the teams that have come into the MLS over the years and built up rabid fan bases. And it took time to get there, but they're there. You look at the Sons of Ben with Philadelphia and all of the supporter groups there. That team came into Major League Soccer and started playing it in 2010. Okay? We're celebrating 15 years of the Philadelphia Union. You would think the Union have been around for 50 years with how supportive and rabid those fan bases are. You look at LAFC. You look at the LA Galaxy. Like, Los Angeles is always clowned on as a sports market. It's a fair weather fan market. Unless it's the Dodgers, nobody cares. LAFC came in as the expansion club, and they're drawing in all these former Premier League guys, and they're competing, and they have a rabid fan base going to games week in and week out.
Yep.
Pay attention to how that works when you market to your fans, your home cities, and I give so much credit to the PLL, and I know NLL fans are going to hate this, but guess what? Look at what the PLL has done in 2 years of home markets. They have made those games feel like a home environment for every single team, whether it's from branding around the stadiums, fans showing out. You were in Denver. That fucking Jared Bernhardt goal was unbelievable with their fan reaction. And I know the Denver Outlaws have a built-in fan base from the MLL days, but nonetheless, they were gone for how many years?
Sure, but Utah fits that same bill.
Exactly. Utah fits that. Carolina has that. This year in particular, I was very impressed by the turnout in Philadelphia, a place where, everyone says the PLL doesn't turn out in traditional markets. I was pretty fucking impressed with the turnout at Villanova, which is outside of Philadelphia nonetheless, that the PLL is playing at. Great facility, though, but it's not necessarily in Philadelphia, and you still had a great turnout. You look at Boston and the Boston Cannons, these teams in just a short amount of time have built social currency with their home markets, and it works. Yes, it takes time for some of them. I think it will take a lot more time for a team like California with the Redwoods to build up and be recognized, because it's California. You're almost starting behind the 8 ball because California sports are viewed in that fair weather fan, kind of aura. But you look at where things work, and that's what the NLL, I feel like they almost get in their own way sometimes with that, where it's like, we want to do it our way, and that's it. And sometimes, guys, the NLL way isn't always the best way.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, I calculated this the other day. I've literally watched the NLL for 75% of my life in person. So, I would love to not see that get taken away from anybody, especially not, I know you with Philly, I don't want that to happen either. I just need them to maybe take a chill pill, take a legit look in the mirror and be like, okay, this is what works. This is what clearly doesn't. What do we need to do to get this set of franchises to work? I'm not saying to stop pumping the tires on Buffalo, Colorado, Vancouver, these markets that work, but let's put special detail and attention into these ones that historically have not worked. AKA teams that have folded once and come back, or teams that have moved once or twice or 3 times. Let's focus on them. Buffalo will take care of itself. Colorado will take care of itself. Vancouver, for the most part, especially now with CDB and Malosky and all them. Calgary, same thing. Even San Diego, for that matter, with Joe Tsai, they're good enough. Let them be. Go help Vegas. Go help Oshawa. Go help whoever else. But yeah, and again, for the people that are just bashing the NLL just to bash the NLL, recognize that they don't have the backing that other leagues do. And now it's on them to actually prove that they will hunker down, and help these teams succeed, and not just sit back and watch them fail like they have for the last how many years.
And I just read this in the official press release too. It says the FireWolves will retain their name for the upcoming season, with more details on branding and community initiatives to be announced in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
So on top of that, we're talking about a team that started as the Philadelphia Wings, becoming the New England Black Wolves, becoming the Albany FireWolves, becoming the Oshawa FireWolves, that now on the table could potentially have another name change.
Yeah. Which, if I'm them, you got to keep the name.
The social IP of these teams too is brutal throughout NLL history. You look at where teams were and where they relocated to and who they are now. It's crazy the amount of turnover some of these teams have had.
Yeah. And like I said to you the first day it happened, why are we getting rid of the Twitter and the Instagram and don't, some people already gave me this, don't give me the BS well, it's a new team, it's a new franchise, a new place, we need to rebrand. Screw that. You had 15,000 people on Instagram, you had another 4,000 on Twitter. Just switch it and just say, hey, we are now the Oshawa FireWolves, the Ontario FireWolves, whatever you're going to be. Don't go and delete it, because not only does that now get rid of your fan base that maybe was just casually following, but now it's confusing to be like, wait, who is this other account that's still active? And now we have this other one. You have people making fake accounts, trolling people now because you gave them the opportunity by creating a new one.
And this is not the first time that this organization has done that, because when they were the New England Black Wolves, they deleted that entire account.
Yeah.
Why? You just deleted your entire social history of your organization.
Yep.
For
and
what?
Like, there are certain instances where it makes sense. Like when the Chrome became the Outlaws. Okay, you already own the Outlaws IP, so it makes sense to then just be like, hey, we're just going to jump.
And you own the Chrome
Totally
IP,
fine.
so that if you want to bring it back down the line, it's still
yes. But in this case, it's like I follow every single team, and I was like, I have to go follow this other thing now. I already follow you here. You have a good following here. Like it's stupid. It's truly stupid. I don't understand why that's a situation where they're getting in their own way. There's no reason to do that. And now it's too late because you already did it.
Mm-hmm. It's the dumbest thing. And the only thing I can think of, which it's still dumb, but it's like, hey, we're gonna change our whole branding.
They should not do that. Just stick with FireWolves, stick with the colors.
Which I do think FireWolves is a pretty bad name.
Sure. But even if you think that, that's their name.
Right.
That's what people know them as. It's already going to be confusing to explain to an outsider that, like, oh, they were here, but then they moved here, and now they moved here. Like, let's squash that. Let's just say this is who you are. We're going to put Oshawa in front of it. Then you don't really have to change too much on the uniform either. You're just changing the part that says Albany at that point. Mm-hmm. So now you're saving money there because you're not paying another graphic designer to make a new logo and branding. Like, just in my mind, make this transition as seamless as possible, which so far they haven't.
And on top of that, like, to go back to like the identity crisis of these teams, like your Colorado Mammoth were the Baltimore Thunder, then they were the Pittsburgh Crossfire for a year before becoming the Washington Power for 2 years, and then became the Colorado Mammoth.
Yeah.
Like this
and that's why I told you before we started recording, if we could get a Steve Govett, God bless his soul, dude. He's the best. Man. He's still alive, by the way. That made it sound like he's dying. I'm sorry. He's still alive. He got the Mammoth to be where they are today, essentially. And he killed it. He went to San Diego, got them to be where they are today. And he's killed it. He's since moved on, obviously. But, like, if we could have him or someone like him just go around the league and get to the Wings and help them succeed, and then get to Oshawa and help them succeed. And get, like, and that's the biggest thing for me is, like, the NLL has examples of what works and who can do that. Now it's about acquiring them and making sure that they can replicate it, because they've shown they can do that before.
He is still president of the San Diego Seals.
Yes, but I think he did take a step back from, like, day-to-day operations. I believe. I could be totally wrong, and if I am, I'll own that. But I do believe
he is starting in October of 2023, according to his LinkedIn. He's the vice chairman of JSI Sports.
Okay, that makes sense, actually.
So maybe, like, his responsibilities have shuffled, even though he still has the title. And, like, even a team like Saskatchewan that's wildly successful, they started as the Syracuse Smash, became the Ottawa Rebel, then they were the Edmonton Rush, and now they're the Saskatchewan Rush.
Yep. Like, which, again, at least they stayed as the Rush this time and kept the same logo for a while, just changed colors. Because who knows how that would have went.
Even, like, the Swarm. They were the Montreal Express, then they became the Minnesota Swarm, and now they're the Georgia Swarm.
Yep.
You know, you look at a team like Vancouver, they were
in San Jose at one point. They were the Stealth.
They were the Albany Attack. They were the San Jose Stealth, the Washington Stealth, the Vancouver Stealth, and now they're the Vancouver Warriors.
Yep.
Like, all of these teams just have a fucking identity crisis. Like, can we just, like, and it goes back to what I said, it's like the meme of, like, for once, can you just be normal? And then it's the kid in the backseat just screaming at the top of his lungs, because the NLL can never be normal. And I just don't understand why. For once, I just want them to act normal. Act like the next major league. But until they prove that they can, I can't bank on it ever happening. And that's why when we were talking before we started recording the segment, like, I know people will get pissed about it, and sure, get pissed at me. The PLL is working. There's proof in the pudding. DJ and I talked about the numbers that came out today as we record this. It's working to a large degree. I love to see the two leagues just do one of these. NLL continues to kind of operate the way that it does, but maybe you'll learn a thing or two from the Rebels and from the PLL that works. And like you said, then you have some owners that if they want to purchase and then have the NLL and PLL teams be together, and then guess what, guys? We don't have to worry about players picking and choosing. They're playing for the same organization year round.
Yep.
Look at how that works. Are you picking up what I'm putting down, all you box lacrosse goalie profile pictures? Are we picking up what I'm putting down here? The ones that always yell at Joe Keegan for no fucking reason other than to just be mad online? Are you seeing the vision here of how it can work? Probably not, because you're all fucking brain dead. But I would love to see that happen because it makes so much fucking sense.
And not to mention, like, a lot of what we were saying about the partnering of like NHL teams and whatnot, they could easily integrate that with the PLL. Imagine if Stan Kroenke said, "Hey, I'll buy the Denver Outlaws. I already own the Colorado Rapids. He probably owns Dick's Sporting Goods Park where they play. Hey, Outlaws, you get to go play at Dick's Sporting Goods Park." Now you have you own both places where the Mammoth and Outlaws play. You own both teams. The Mammoth then get the social media presence of Denver Outlaws, which the PLL does immaculately. They kill social media. The PLL benefits from the owner. Boom, it's a marriage made in heaven. I mean, literally. Like, I know that a lot of like the hardcore box accounts will say like, well, Paul's just going to dissolve the league if he buys it. But like, this could be a legitimate partnership. Like, it's not as crazy as it sounds on surface level.
So the city of Commerce City owns Dick's Sporting Goods Park, but Kroenke Sports and Entertainment are the operators.
Okay.
So
you could still
tomato.
Yeah, because the Rapids are the only ones that play there.
Mm-hmm. And which, like,
so
that would be a huge upgrade for the Outlaws. Not that like University of Denver is bad.
It's not
like,
bad, but it's only like 3,000 people can fit there.
Another step forward to growing that team that already has such a rabid fan base.
Yep.
And like the same thing, like imagine if like the Water Dogs had to play at the Union Stadium.
Yep.
As their home base. Like that place we've seen for PLL championships get packed to the gills for one game. And we've seen the Water Dogs fan base go crazy when they are playing there. Like, it just makes so much sense for these teams to just get out of their own way, get their heads out of their own asses, and realize there's a way to kumbaya and come together and work together. And I know it will take time for that to happen because it's a massive overhauling of things, but there's a way to make it work. And I just want to see all lacrosse succeed one way or another. And genuinely, I feel like that is a direct route to success. We'll see if it is. But, like, then on top of that, maybe you get your WLL team that is going to be partnered up with your PLL team to have a WNLL team. And then you have women's box lacrosse happening.
I'd watch that in a
your
heartbeat.
men's team. Like, are you all starting to smell what KB is cooking? Okay? I may sound dumb, but I'm not dumb. Okay? Sometimes I might be dumb, but I certainly am not stupid.
The problem with what you're suggesting, though, is there are too many only pro box fans and only pro field fans for people to actually grasp this.
Get ready to be whatever the equivalent of bilingual is for lacrosse, buddy.
Yep.
Get ready to learn all disciplines, buddy. Because guess what? Your Olympic discipline's a fucking hybrid of both of them.
Yeah.
The box fans are going to be so miserable during the Olympics.
I would say the annoying box fans.
Yes, the italicized
Like,
box
Yeah.
fans.
Because there are a lot of box fans that I very much respect.
Yes,
And
100%.
am like, dude, I know you don't love the PLL, but I appreciate the way you don't bash it or bash sixes. But then
Right.
you have like the goalie profile photos, and I'm like, dude, why? You're hurting yourself, your reputation. You're hurting the league's reputation, the sports. Like, it's
That's
okay
why
to not
we
like
have
something.
teams relocating to Oshawa.
Yeah, it's okay to not like something and just not like it.
It's okay to not hit send.
Seriously.
Like,
Seriously.
you don't always have to hit
Yeah.
send on the things you type out. You can just pull out your notes app and just type in there.
Literally.
You can get a diary and handwrite it.
Yep.
Not everything you conjure up in your brain has to be put on the internet.
Yeah. Go tell your friend that agrees with you offline. Go do that and come back and be fine. Like, I don't know why we have to bash something to then show our appreciation for something else. Like, it's stupid.
Right. It's literally
Like,
cutting off your nose to spite your face.
also, not to mention, I found out this week, did you know that the Man Cup used to be field lacrosse?
Huh.
So
Is
I'm
that
like,
so? Is
you
that
don't
right?
have to love field, but like, you don't gotta like bash it. Like, even I've only watched field for like 3 serious years. Like, I wasn't bashing field the entire time I grew up watching box. Like, it's really okay to like only appreciate one and just not say anything bad about the other. Or, also not make things up about certain players, in regards to a players association or things of that nature, which I won't get into, but
That's pretty interesting that the Man Cup was field lacrosse to begin with.
just saying.
Very interesting. Very interesting there, Hoots.
Yeah.
Huh. The most prestigious trophy in sports. Allegedly.
Yep.
Allegedly. This was fun. I'm sure we'll have more ranting and rambling about the Oshawa FireWolves asterisk. We should treat the FireWolves right now like the Thunderbolts movie, where it just has a random asterisk next to the title. That's what they are. They're the Oshawa FireWolves asterisk. Because we don't know truly what they are until the end of the movie, or in this case, the end of the season. We don't know what they are. That's what we are declaring that on this podcast. They are the Oshawa FireWolves asterisk, and that's how we will talk about them until further notice. Put that on a fucking quote card. We'll have more to talk about this as it continues to unfold. But guess what? We get PLL playoffs this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTBLaxPod across the board. Follow Hoots at Hoot Sports Media. Follow DJ at SCS_NextGreat. Follow me at KBICZL311. Subscribe to the pod on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave a 5-star review. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia and Outside the Box podcast YouTube channels. YouTube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Leave a like on the video. Drop a comment in the comment section. Click that bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. And we are 40 subscribers away on the OTB channel from having the OTB College Show with Deej, Hoots, and Mr. Jack Knight himself. Deej and the kids, if you will.
DJ's Daycare.
Deej's Daycare. Put that on a shirt.
Dude, I'd wear that every episode if we got those made.
Just put in like the Rugrats font.
Mm-hmm. We gotta have a picture of him on it though.
It's Deej, you, Jack Knight, and like Perry the Platypus.
Yes.
AKA Rob Panel.
Yes.
Which I saw. I wish I would have brought this up with him earlier. I saw a tweet earlier today that I bookmarked because I was like, oh my God, like everything now since the Rob Pannell tweet has happened, I get so much Perry the Platypus content thrown my way. And this Swiftie on Twitter, at Picture Tokern, said a Taylor Swift store countdown, and it's like the countdown of like her store opening, and then The next pictures. Perry the Taylor Swift store countdown. It's switch the hat. It's so perfect.
Oh, that's great.
One of these days, we're just gonna put the Perry the Platypus hat on the DB logo. And
Uh-huh.
people are gonna be like, "What the fuck?" And it's like, if you're a real one, you really know what this is all about.
We might need to make special edition merch. That's Perry the Platypus.
I
OTB logo.
said the OTB college show mascot because this show's mascot is obviously a duck because we feed the ducks. I said the OTB college show should be a platypus.
Dude, I'm gonna take a photo of Perry the Platypus in a shirt, and it's gonna be an OTB shirt, and we're gonna put that on a shirt. Start showing up to events and being like, "Who do you shoot for?" I'm like, "Oh, I shoot for Perry the Platypus, OTB."
You just hit him with that like fucking noise that he makes. Fucking rolling your R's like a Ruffles commercial.
I'm gonna have to get his hat. I'm gonna wear it to games.
Dude, imagine one weekend we're all there and we just roll up with the Perry the Platypus hats.
Yes. We can put on the Jumbotron every single play. Like, look.
We all have to wear Perry the Platypus hats and Rob Pennell jerseys, but we have to have like an interchangeable last L.
Yes. Dude, Rob would be like, "What is happening right now?"
Rob would be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you guys?"
He's like, "These are my fans here."
So yeah, if you want the college show, subscribe to the OTB YouTube channel. Enjoy the games this weekend. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And shout out to the Oshawa FireWolves asterisk. We'll see what their real identity is at the end of the movie. But this has been episode number 389 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, and of course viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Deej, for Hoots, I'm KB. We'll catch you guys right back here next week as we head into Philadelphia for the PLL semifinals. It's a parade inside my city once again. Yeah, shout out to Ja Morant. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here. Peace.
Peace.